Hey everybody, welcome to Slurv. It is Tuesday, June 21st, and it is officially summer now. Yay. But actually that is yay, because it's going to be hotter out, and that means good hitting. So we like that. We got a big old slate today, so let's get into it. Adam will help you out with the pitching options in his video. There's some quite interesting ones today. We got some big names. We got Jose, we got Noah, we got Nola in addition to Noah. Anyway, lots of guys to choose from, but nobody is too expensive, so I think we can spend a little bit on bats, which also aren't too expensive. A couple of guys I like at catcher. Brian McCann gets Chad Bettis at home. Yankees at home are great. Vegas loves them today. Their total is on the rise. He's 3.8 on DK and 3.3 on FanDuel. Also like Russell Martin, love the Jays in general today against Patrick Corbin, who really struggles with righties, and it's at home, so a very righty-friendly park. 3.6 on DK, 3.2 on FanDuel. That's really pretty much it as far as the catchers that I want to target today for cash. I mentioned I love the Jays today. You're probably going to see a lot of them in this. If you can afford their big bats, I love them. I love E5, Edwin Encarnacion, again against Corbin. He's 5.3 on DK, which is just woo. But like I said, pitching not too bad. And 4.4 on FanDuel, so that's definitely a more reasonable price, or at least easier to fit in. And if you need a cheaper guy, I like Marwin Gonzalez, who's been doing really well. Houston gets Hector Santiago today. He's the guy I enjoy targeting. He's an extreme fly ball pitcher, so a lot of upside there. 3.8 on DK and 3.3 on FanDuel, so a nice healthy discount over Edwin Encarnacion. All right, second base gets a little more complicated. Depending on who is playing for Texas, I like Profar and Odor against Desclafani. Profar is 3.7 on DK and 3.0 on FanDuel. He's a cheaper option. He's also third base eligible on DK, so if they're both in the lineup, you could conceivably play both of them. Odor is 4.5 on DK and 3.6 on FanDuel, so more expensive, but also I think maybe the higher ceiling on Odor. They've both been doing really well. And then, there's not... This guy I can't recommend on DK because Jose Altuve is 5.4 there. And if you're paying up, I'd rather pay up for Encarnacion and some other guys later on. But on FanDuel, he's only 3.9, like 300 more than Odor, which is kind of silly. And he gets Santiago. So I really like Altuve there a lot. And then there's a couple of guys who aren't second basemen on FanDuel, but they are on DK. And that's Chris Coughlin. Watch out for the lineup to see if he is in it and leading off, as he is projected in some places too. We never know with these things. But if he is, he gets Wainwright for only 2.5K on DK. It's also 2.5 on FanDuel, but it's a third baseman. It's just not that interesting. Same story for Ryan Schimpf on the Padres, who, if you don't know anything about him, he's really kind of a power hitter. He's got a lot of power, and he gets Tyler Wilson today, 2.1 on DK, in an otherwise fairly weak second base spot. I really like putting one of those guys in there, probably Schimpf. Who knows if Coughlin's even in the lineup. So we'll see for that later on. Come on by the tailgate at slurv.com, and we will talk about that throughout the day. So if you do somehow have the cash to fit him, I think Josh Donaldson is the highest priced player on the slate. God, I have trouble with words today. Words are hard. He is 5.6 on DK. On DK. He's probably not on FanDuel. He's only 4.5 there. I think he is an excellent play, but his price reflects that. I really kind of prefer on DK to go to the other side of the field there and take Jake Lamb against Estrada for only 4K. 3.9 on FanDuel is not really so enticing. On FanDuel, I would rather go for 3.9 and get Nolan Arenado. Jake Lamb is very good, but Nolan Arenado is better. And Nova is arguably worse than Estrada, although Estrada is a fly ball pitcher, and Nova is much more of a ground ball pitcher. But Arenado's 4.6 on DK. I don't hate him there at that price either, but 3.9 on FanDuel is just too cheap. some interesting pricing on FanDuel today, to be honest. Or maybe it's interesting on DraftKings. It makes FanDuel look interesting. I don't know. Corey Seager gets Tanner Roark, who is not too bad, but not too impressive either. And he's only 3.8 on DK. He's 3.7 on FanDuel, which is not equivalent, and just, I don't know. That doesn't feel right for him to be cheaper there, or around the same price there, I mean. And then there's also Carlos Correa against Santiago. He also is 3.8 on DK. I find it almost a coin flip between the two of those guys. Maybe slight preference to Correa. And he's 3.9 on FanDuel, so he's more expensive there. Just things that don't particularly make sense. So on FanDuel, I most prefer, and I like him on DK too, but not as much, Brandon Crawford against, I'm not actually sure how to say this guy's name, Boscan, I'm guessing. He's 3.9 on DK. I don't hate him at that price either. I just prefer the other two guys. He's 3.2 on FanDuel, though, so really nice price there. Crawford, a hard-hitting shortstop. Boscan is really bad. Like, go look at his minor league numbers if you don't believe me. There's nothing to be afraid of there. So I think all of those are interesting plays, but Crawford is my favorite FanDuel one. Okay, so in the outfield, doing a little bit different here. I'm going to give you pairs of guys from teams that I like, one higher priced than the other, preferably. I don't think I get that all the way through. But I like Baltimore, and I like Hyun-Soo Kim. No surprise if you have watched these videos in the last couple weeks. Luis Perdomo, not very good. Kim is 3.9 on DK and a ridiculous 2.9 on FanDuel. And I also like Adam Jones, if you want to get kind of at the top end of the pricing scale. He's 5.1 on DK, 3.9 on FanDuel is also more reasonable. And then on Toronto, we got actually two lefty-lefty matchups that I'm interested in because both Carrera and Saunders kind of crush lefties. So that's kind of interesting. And Carrera in particular on DK is really cheap at 3.2. Make sure he's leading off. Some people are projecting him leading off. Some people are projecting Pilar leading off and him down in the 8th hole. I don't know. I don't like him nearly as much if he's down there. 3.3 on FanDuel, so not really as attractive there. But Saunders is quite expensive at 4.8 on DK. He's much cheaper at 3.9 on FanDuel, so that would be my preference there in those two. And then my last pair of guys are Texas guys, and they are not really priced too differently, so pick whichever one you like better. I think I have a slight preference for Mazzara against Desclafani. Mazzara and Chu are my two guys there. They are just underpriced, like they're just wrong on DK. 3.2 for Mazzara and 3.4 for Chu. Mazzara is 3 on DK on FanDuel. Gosh, I get my words right today. And 2.9 on and Chu is 2.9 on FanDuel. So I like both of those guys for sure. Mazzara kind of hits with a little bit more power, but he's not going to steal a base. Chu gets on base a little bit more, but hits with slightly less power and is somewhat of a threat to steal a base. But with their prices right next to each other, I like both of them, and I like playing them both potentially. I don't mind getting a few Rangers in your lineup at all. So those are your cash game cornerstones for today, June 21st. Come on by the Slurv chat, slurv.com. It's free to sign up. Come on in the tailgate. Me and Max and Adam and Eric and the crew, we'll all be hanging out there talking about baseball with you guys and making some lineups. Congratulations once again to our fearless leader, Eric, who took down the DK qualifier for the World Fantasy Baseball Championships in Toronto later. So he is going to be heading out to Toronto to represent us there along with Adam. So Max and I got to step up our game, I guess. Jeez. Anyway, good luck tonight, guys. Come on by, slurv.com.